Well, today we have the pleasure of talking with John Rustin. He's with the North Carolina Family Policy Council, and if you don't know what's going on in North Carolina, there's a lot. John, it's always good to have you here with us.
Well, Kim, great to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Why don't you give us a little background on what's happening in the state?
Well, sure. As your viewers may remember, in February this year, the Charlotte City Council passed a set of really radical ordinance changes that would have essentially opened up bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers across the city so that men could go into women's bathrooms and other private facilities if they claimed to be a woman. And as outrageous as that sounds, a huge battle ensued. Those policy changes were set to go into effect on April 1st, ironically April Fool's Day, but the North Carolina legislature called itself into session on April the 23rd to hold a special session to essentially repeal or address those radical policy changes that the Charlotte City Council had approved, and they enacted what has been come to known as House Bill 2, which essentially sets a statewide policy that ensures privacy, safety, and dignity of the citizens of North Carolina as it relates to access to bathrooms, showers, locker rooms, et cetera, across the state. Since that time, and we're very grateful that Governor Pat McCrory signed that bill into law that very evening, but since that time, a real firestorm has ensued in North Carolina and now across the nation. But yesterday, we saw the U.S. Attorney, Loretta Lynch, in a press conference, speak harshly against the bill. They had sent a letter to Governor Pat McCrory and other officials in North Carolina last week demanding that the state not enact or implement House Bill 2 and basically throw it out into the dumpster and adopt this incredibly radical policy that the Obama administration has adopted, which essentially changes the word or the definition of the word sex to include sexual orientation and gender identity. And this is not just a policy change that would impact North Carolina, but if the Obama administration is successful in bullying our state into adopting this radical policy, it will become the policy for our nation. So there's a whole lot at stake here. And we really feel like North Carolina is at ground zero of this national debate over sexuality and religious liberty, for that matter.
Now, Governor McCrory has said that he believes the Congress, the U.S. Congress, will have to define those terms in Title VII and Title IX, the anti-discrimination policy. Is that what it's going to take to finally end all the debate?
Well, we would contend that those terms are already defined. I mean, for decades in our nation, and rightly so, there have been special protections on the basis of race, religion, national origin, and sex, meaning being male or female, that you can't discriminate against people on that. And now this radical notion that sex is basically an undefined term.
Now more than ever, it seems like Governor McCrory needs to hear from people that we support, that support him. Tell our viewers what we can do to continue to show him that we're for him.
Kim, thank you, and thank you to the Family Policy Alliance for your great work in getting the word out and encouraging family policy councils across the country and our supporters and friends and allies to get involved. We're just encouraging folks to call Governor Pat McCrory in North Carolina and our legislative leaders, Senator Phil Berger, the President Pro Tem of the State Senate, and Tim Moore, the Speaker of the North Carolina House, and thank them for standing firm on this issue, for not giving in to the bully tactics of the Obama administration, the Human Rights Campaign, and the other opponents of this common sense legislation. One thing I'm encouraging folks to do on kind of a personal note is just to take a minute and sit down and handwrite a thank you note or a note of encouragement to Governor Pat McCrory. This is an incredibly, incredibly important issue and has national implications. And just as you are so great in doing at the Family Policy Alliance, we just want to encourage folks to get involved. Take just a couple minutes. It'll make a huge difference.